I thought so. We've talked about this, haven't hardly had any practice time. The last time we had a good practice was, you guys were there, was in Vancouver on that off day. So the last time, I can't even remember the last time at home we've had a good day to practice. So we got a good day off yesterday, freshen up, and yeah, we got to touch on some things, so some competitive drills. I thought the guys went at it pretty good.
A little feedback that Jim I received from some players on the last game was the bounce back after goals against. Is that a process that happens, or is it something,
Yeah.
can you do anything to affect that?
Well, you'd like to think you do, until they get the second one after the first one, and then you ask me why, you know what I mean? Why are we giving that second one up? So, I don't know. I think most of the game, especially this time of the year, comes down to your focus, just generally. So the quicker you can get your focus back, whether it's something good happened or something lousy happened, the better off you're going to get. And I guess results would say we've been back focused pretty well, but they can go either way sometimes. So we're not going to sit here and tell you that we've got that riddle solved.
Last game you had about as close to the full roster that was set out in the offseason as you had all year. You rolled 4 lines. I think the gap between the fourth line and the top line was less than 2 lines. Is that your preference as a head coach to have that kind of set depth and balance to be able to roll those 4 lines, or do you prefer the more chaotic's not the right word,
Yeah.
the more free-flowing 11-7 or whatever other options are?
It's a good question. It's one I've thought about because, we've gone with 11 for a long time, and I really liked it, to be honest with you. When we went back to the full 12, I felt less in a rhythm myself, personally. And, but it worked out, the Vancouver game, to be able to go one after the other, worked out easier on me mentally, for sure. But it worked out. We had 4 lines going well consistently, I thought. So, that made it easier, but it is a really good question because I got pretty comfortable with 11. And what I did realize is you need 4 centermen. When Phil was out, we had 11 with 3 centermen. That's tough. You don't want that. But with 4 centermen can make a big difference.
Included in those lines were Akil Thomas. He played 11, 12 minutes. He said that he's feeling maybe more comfortable now than game 1. You've seen some growth from him that added trust.
Yeah, I thought the San Jose game, he played so well. He just really did. I know he scored the goal, but there were other areas of the game where I didn't think we were particularly sharp in the San Jose game, but he gave us energy. He gave us detail in his game. He gave us physicality. So he gave us all the things that maybe were missing just a little bit from our group. So we wanted to make sure we gave him another good look against Vancouver. And that line, we talked about that whole line. They complemented each other well. And they spent more time in Vancouver's zone than any other of our lines in that game. Just a forecheck and a tenacity that they had, the 3 of them. So they got good chemistry.
How close is Carl to being activated?
He's getting there. He's getting there. I couldn't tell you if it's miles or inches or, I would tell you that he's getting there. That's what I would say.
Jim, Taubes is 6-2 in his last 8 starts. What's the biggest thing you've seen from him, maybe compared to when he was struggling there a couple months ago?
I don't know. That's a good question, too. I try not to look too closely at the goaltenders. I think it's such an important position. You can, as a coach, you can overanalyze the position. I really trust Mike Buckley, what he's done with all 3 of the goaltenders this year that have played. He's done a great job with them. We really just lean on him to, guide us as far as who should play, guide us as far as practice, energy, all that kind of stuff. What I've seen just generally is he's making the first save. I'll credit our defenseman in front of him for not giving up a lot of second shots. So it's 2 pieces. He's controlling rebounds, and when he doesn't, we've got really good sticks and box outs in front of the net. So I think it's a combination platter between those 2 groups specifically, the defenseman in front of him and the way Taubes is controlling his rebounds.
How big of an advantage is the schedule with respect to you're not leaving Southern California. You have another gap of a 2-day rest period. Is it an advantage for you at this point?
I hope so. I think it is. But I would say we paid for that advantage during the times that we were out on the road and playing all those games. So I believe it is. Now, we have to make sure we use it as such, but for sure, I just think we've had quite a run from when the first game from the All-Star break started until probably yesterday or 2 days ago. Now we get a little bit more on the back end to get freshened up a little bit. We just have to make sure we're using it wisely.
We've heard the phrase contagious used about specific players, usually on the forecheck and how they inspire their line mates to jump into the play with them or continue. Trevor Lewis and Blake Lazat not on the ice for any goals against at any strength in the last 4 games. Is that kind of play also contagious? Can that also spur on teammates to play a similar style?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it. Like that line has given us so much energy. So the fact they haven't been scored upon, is great and really important. But they, I talked about it last game. But if we totaled up over the last 4 games when they were out there, just possession and forecheck and keeping the other teams on their heels, they're probably number one. And when the other team's on their heels, what they're not doing is racing at you and taking shots at your net. Even if it's a saw-off. And, one of the other things you probably noticed is they have been out there against some of the other team's top players, too. And oftentimes, you think of a line that's deeper in the lineup, they play a line that's deeper in the lineup. We've got the confidence in them and whoever they're with to play them against the other team's best players and know that it's going to be hard for them to get through them, whether it's in the forecheck or neutral zone or D zone, wherever it is. They're going to make the other team really work at it to get something. And so to answer your question, to bring it all the way back, I think the other players see that and appreciate it because it's not easy, especially when you're playing against the other team's top guys.